Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Urvashi Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication from Jagannath University, Jaipur. In today's session, we'll be focusing on lead and types of lead. So let us begin with the session. Now, what is a lead? Lead is the opening paragraph or an introductory paragraph to a news story. The main purpose of the intro or the lead is to make reader want to read on and motivate him to move further into a news story and state important facts first. Lead to a story grabs the reader, informs the reader, and teaches the reader how to read the rest of the story. One can say that the lead is the flashlight that shines into a story. A newspaper reader is likely to spend only a few seconds deciding whether to read a story or not. If the lead does not grab the reader's attention, the writer's work is in vain. The lead establishes the direction your writing will take. A good lead grabs reader's attention and refuses to let go. In other words, it hooks the reader. Not every type of lead will work for every writer or for every piece of writing, and one has to experiment with them. For writing a good news story, be sure to have at least 3 sentences in your lead, whatever type it may be. Types of lead: summary, digest, or straight lead. It brings the central issue of discussion at first. It tells reader what they want to know in a creative manner. If the reader only reads the lead, he or she would have a solid grasp of the story. For example, 12 persons were killed and at least 50 injured and hospitalized when a bus and a car smashed into each other. Bus got fire and collided with car, which resulted into this accident. This mishap took place near Gurgaon this morning. So this is a lead which is summarizing the entire event in just few words, giving the reader exact idea of what happened, where it happened, and when did it happen. So it covers 5 W's and 1 H. Question lead. Used when the story has direct relevance or public interest to the reader. Many editors dislike question lead on the basis that people read newspapers to get answers and not to be asked questions. If the question is provocative, it may be used as a lead. For example, what is the first thing that woman buys when she is advised that she won $250,000 in a jingle contest? Mrs. Jane Roe informed by XYZ Soaps that her entry took up first prize in the nationwide contest. She said she'll buy a rhyming dictionary. That. So this is a question lead used in this example which asks the question directly to the reader and establishes the connect. Punch, capsule or cartridge lead. It is short and punchy to attract the reader, blunt, explosive statement to summarize the article. For example, President Pratibha Patil's foreign visit have cost the public exenquer rupees 205 crores, surpassing the record of all her predecessors. Since assuming the office as country's first women president in July 2007, Ms. Patil has undertaken 12 trips covering 22 countries across 4 continents. She has 4 more months to go in her 5-year tenure, and a trip to South Africa is set to be on the way. So this is how the punch lead is, or a capsule lead, or a cartridge lead is. It is very punchy, short, and it is explosive statements are used. Next we have statement or a direct quotation lead. This lead can be extremely effective if quote is good and important. Then remaining paragraph is used to explain the quote. This lead is generally used when we are reporting some speech or some rally. For example, I'll start looking for a secular state in India from Kashmir to Kerala, excluding Tamil Nadu, for me to reside and work. If I'm not able to find such a place in a country, then I would seek a country that does entertain an artist like me. I could leave the country like M.F. Hussain, said the actor, speaking to the press. India's one of the finest actors and filmmaker Kamal Hassan is disappointed. Lot of drama has occurred about the happening from few days, and this latest movie Vishwarupam is not yet released in Tamil Nadu. So this is how you can use a direct appeal, direct quotation lead. Now we have a contrast lead. As the name suggests, it gives comparison. It compares two extreme, like big with small, comedy with tragedy, old with new, or old with youth, past with the present, and so on. Example: a private is having funds in crore and international facilities where a municipal school is lacking in its basic need for teacher. The XYZ public school management has agreed that they have 28 lakh in is too high. Now rest of the story will tell how the situation there is. Similarly, corruption in politics could be the reason. Now we have direct address or a direct appeal lead, which is also known as a U lead. This lead directly speaks to the reader. It addresses the reader directly as you. It enhances the interest of the reader as it directly talks with them. For example, you might you might not get relief from breezy wind, as meteorological department said the weather are going to be same for next 15 days more. If you are one of the 30 million Americans working for a company with a private pension plan, Congress has given you a new Bill of Rights. It is the Employment Retirement Income Security Act, and it promises that if you worked long enough to earn a pension, you will receive one at retirement age. Nothing, including bankruptcy, plant closing, dismissal, or resignation, can stand in the way. So, this is how a direct appeal lead is used, where the reader feels the writer is directly speaking to him. Then we have a descriptive lead. Descriptive lead describes how an event has taken place rather than simply telling you what the event is about. Writer tries to paint the picture of the event by using descriptive word. This lead can help in creating mood of the story. For example, Allahabad at the Kanchi Shankaracharya's camp, 24-hour mantra jap echoes across Sector 6 of 70-kilometer large Kumbh city. Adjacent to the Kachi Peet camp, the SGPC team at Kumbh prepares for afternoon langar. Hundreds of pilgrims, visitors, and homeless at the Kumbh have already queued up for the lunch. Across the road, the gate of New Age Dharmguru Ashram, the Dharmguru Asaram Bapu enclosures dwarfs the rest. It's gaudy like a poor commercial. So it is painting the entire picture on how the scene is there at Kanchi Shankaracharya camp, how people are gathering for afternoon langar. Everything is painted in front of the eyes of the reader. Next, we have the parody lead. This lead attempts to play proverb, quotations, song titles, or phrase. For example, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, Hindu nationalist leader Narendra Modi has won convincing victory to secure a fourth successive term as Chief Minister of India's Gujarat state. With all the votes counted, Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party has won 115 seats in the 182-seat assembly, the election commission says. So this is how they're using the title, the uh, lyrics of the song or the title of the film to relate it to a real life incident. Historical or literally allusion lead. This leads draw attention on some characters or event in history or literature that is familiar to the average reader. The religious book and literary works are used as a reference point by the writer. For example, lastly, Nirbhaya died after 15 days struggle. She fought for the life like Jhansi ki Rani, but her life ended as the infection of the body could not be stopped, said doctor team member. So here, Jhansi ki Rani is a historical character. Nirbhaya is being compared to Jhansi ki Rani because of the courage Jhansi ki Rani showed and fought Britishers. So this is how a historical or a literary a losing lead is written when it there's a familiarity is drawn between the historical event or a character from the history. Then we have staccato lead. It's jerky, exciting phrases are used if facts justify it. Short clipped word, phrases, and sentences, sometimes separated with dashes and dots. To create certain mood in the story, often this is descriptive in nature. For example, midnight on the bridge. A scream, a shot, a splash, a second shot, and a third shot. Rohit has less learning ability. Rohit has severe problem in speech. Rohit is an autistic, but still he manages like a normal child. So this is how the autism is depicted by using staccato lead, which has jerky, exciting phrases, and they are separated by dashes and dots. Then we have suspended interest lead. This lead works like a stimulator of interest among the reader. After the lead, story runs in a chronological order so that the reader has to read the whole story to get to the climax. The reader must get to the story by reading the story till the end. For example, 14-year-old Akbar's appeal to the judge to let him remain with his Hindu guardian instead of transferring him to his Muslim mother has shot Aikulal Sandil to national headlines. However, for a tea vendor from Badari, Lucknow, taking in Akbar wasn't something he thought twice about. Having been raised by a Muslim man himself, Sadil couldn't just look away when he found 6-year-old boy in a Lucknow park 8 years ago. So this is how the story will unwind. So here is how we use a suspended interest lead. We basically use this lead when we don't have a prominent person involved in a story. Circumstantial lead. This lead stresses on the circumstances under which the incident took place. It is generally used in human interest story. For example, a 60-year-old retired bank employee raised his voice when two unidentified persons entered in his house for robbery in Shakarpur area. Fortunately, police van was standing nearby. They reached the post and rescued the women. So this is how the entire story is written. Oddity or freak lead, it begins with an uncommon or odd statement, unusual approach to attract the reader. For example, for sale, one elephant. The City Park Commission is thinking about inserting that ad in a newspaper. Wanted supporters from among the opposition parties who can vote for NDA government to save it from a possible defeat in the coming elections in Uttar Pradesh. So this is the odd kind of a headlines, unusual kind of a lead which is used to attract the readers. Narrative or sequence lead. This lead starts at the middle of an event. It carries the reader through the event and gives them a surprising twist at the end of the story. For example, he paused for a second to gaze upon it. Then slowly he reached down and laid his hand upon the feeling the skin. He turned aside and carefully selected the knife. Sweating now, he lifted it up and then suddenly brought it down. Red, red. It was red everywhere. Cut, shouted the director. Thus ended the first shot of Sanjeev Kumar. 3 retakes later, it was done. And what followed is history. So it is narrating a story. It takes middle, and then it reaches a suspense, and then the story is concluded. Bullet lead. This lead is short sentences, short phrases, used straightforward manner. This is used for important news since this lead hits the reader like a bullet. For example, Mahatma Gandhi is no more. Gandhi shot dead. Funny or gag lead. This lead is written in a funny way. This written or rare basis depending upon the story, generally used in feature. Blind identification lead. If the person concerned is not well known in the community, his or her name is less important than other silent faces that identifies the person. For example, 80-year-old woman instead of her name. A police inspector's son was attacked with a knife by some miscreant on Mount Road this evening. Victim Pratap Daniel, 20, has been admitted to private hospital and his condition is critical. So we have seen that lead is the first paragraph of a news story, article, feature, or a column that attracts the reader to read the entire story. So whenever we are writing a lead, we have to choose from either one of the lead that we have discussed in this session to make it more interesting. Now deciding what lead to choose depends upon what kind of interest you want to arouse in the reader. It also depends upon for whom are you writing. So it is very important for a reporter to identify the readers for whom he is writing, what kind of impact he wants to generate through his writing amongst the readers. So all these things need to be kept in mind in order to come up with an effective lead. Lead is the first paragraph of the story, of the feature, of the article that will lead or that will grab the attention of the reader to go through the entire story. So in this session, we studied all about lead and types of lead, which can be used to make our writing more effective and interesting. Thank you.